I'm Sam Laprade. Welcome to An Hour to Give. This week we're featuring the Association of Fundraising Professionals, and I'm so excited to welcome our first two guests. Of course, Peter Nicholson from Foundation WCPD and Derek DeLuche, part of the organizing committee and the chair for the AFP Phils Awards happening this year. Hello, gentlemen. How are you?
Doing great, Sam.
It's great to have you here. You know how I feel about AFP and how I feel about the Phils. The Phils, of course, the Philanthropy Awards, but we affectionately refer to them as the Phils. You're the chair this year.
And we've embraced that affection because
Yes.
we always made a point of, talking about the AFP Ottawa chapter, the Philanthropy Day Awards, because these are celebrated across North America on the same day for many of the AFP chapters, which, as most people know, AFP represents professional fundraisers and the communities that they create through their work. So we've decided to embrace that, and this year we are just calling it the Phils.
The Phils, which is wonderful. And you've been involved with the Phils for a number of years, going on, I think, 15 years. It's been wonderful to see the involvement of Foundation WCPD. Why, Peter? Why are you so involved in this wonderful organization?
Well, I mean, first of all, community and philanthropy has always touched my heart and my family, so that's number one. And number two is I'm in the business of philanthropy. I have a financial services company that specializes in tax reduction, and one of our favorite strategies is what they call a charitable structured flow-through. And that allows people that are high tax to give more of their tax money to charities of their choice rather than to CRA. It still helps society, paying your taxes to CRA or paying foundations, but our clients prefer helping charities.
It's wonderful. It really is a win-win. And I know Derek's celebrating 30 years of the Phils. I don't know about you, it makes me kind of feel old. But anyway, celebrating 30 years of the Phils, but having a partner like Peter and Foundation WCPD to be on board has really created this incredible synergy. And I look forward to the event every year.
We have such a great, amazing group of people who come together to help this event happen every year, but without those who step up to do the sponsor part, we wouldn't actually be able to make these awards the success they are. And about 9 years ago is when WCPD actually stepped into the presenting sponsor role.
Right.
We were struggling a little bit at the time. We were, making it happen each year, but by them stepping into that role and actually investing in a way that allowed us to think about the experience of the award recipients, but also the guests, I believe we actually brought the Philanthropy Day Awards to another level.
You did.
And this year, for the 30th anniversary, we are bumping that up even more because thanks to Peter's support, we've changed the entire event. So it will no longer be a sit-down dinner. We heard quite clearly from our attendees that took a little bit away from the energy of the evening.
Right.
So we are concentrating on the networking part to start off. Then we have the wonderful awards, which you will be hosting.
Yes.
Dedicated with people's eyes on stage, not clinking dessert plates.
Right.
But then immediately afterwards, we thankfully, thanks to Dan Greenberg, a past award winner in Acora Village, have a special reception at the end to continue the networking with bite-sized desserts and a champagne toast to our over 150 to 170 alumni of the awards from the past 30 years. That's how many groups, individuals, companies, etc., have been recognized.
Wow, that's
during 30
incredible.
years.
That's it. That's wonderful. I love hearing that. But here's what I love, Peter, is when we think about sponsorship, I think the average person thinks you give some money and you get a sign in an event.
Right.
But you have done 180-degree difference from that. Your whole family has embraced this event.
Right.
One of my highlights, I'll be honest, and I kind of tease you when we're there, but one of my highlights when I've had the honor of hosting is looking down, I see you and your family at this event.
Right.
You invite us into your home in advance and have all of those incredible nominees have that chance to get to know each other, because although Ottawa's small, I witness it every year, people meeting people for the first time.
Yeah.
They're both receiving an award. They would have only seen each other on event night. But you get this, you create community before the event happens.
Yeah.
And your whole family's there. It's wonderful.
Right, and I got a big family with
Yeah.
six children,
Yes.
Annabelle and myself,
Yeah.
and then usually we have some uncles and aunts and cousins that live with us too from the Philippines. So we have great Filipino food. We came up with that idea about 7 years ago, so 7 years hosting the pre-philanthropy awards, we call them, where we announce the winners. we call it the Academy Awards of Philanthropy. And so
love
the
it.
winners show up, plus all past winners and other people in the community. And last year was a record. We had 130 people in our home. It was a gorgeous day in September. We'll have another, the event is in September again this year for the pre-party. And people showed up 6:30, and we had a great Filipino buffet for everyone.
Yes.
And actually, I think the last person left around 2 in the morning.
No.
Yes.
Well, it
yes.
wasn't me, I promise you.
The fire pits are on and everyone.
Oh,
but
I love
no,
it.
it's a fabulous night. And like you say, it's the first time that the award winners get to meet each other.
Yes.
And it's just, it sets the stage nicely for the big event, which usually happens a month or 2 months later.
Yeah, and I love this event, and I'll tell you why. Is because so often fundraisers and those that are giving so generously, we're working so hard to make sure the community is cared for. But this is truly, and I see it every single year, an emotional night. It's a celebration, and it really is an opportunity for people to share their story about why philanthropy is so important to them.
Well, and I think, to Peter's point and what you've just, talked about in the differentiation in this between a sponsorship and a true partnership, is that the Philanthropy Day Awards, the Phils, actually talk about that partnership. So we don't distance the people who raise the funds from the people who contribute the funds and how those contributions come. So if those contributions are from corporate partners who come forward, groups that raise money in the community, also youth who are just getting started in philanthropy, and we want to encourage them on their journey. That night is about the story about how philanthropy in Ottawa works and how we work together. And so I think for me, it's this wonderful thing when you work in the room and you're actually in there talking to people and seeing their stories, that the partnership is important, that there's no one piece left out. It's the totality of what it looks like to make a difference in Ottawa for those who are most vulnerable and for those organizations we all care for and support for.
Yeah.
So that's why the sponsors and WCPD especially has been part of so much of this that we can't underestimate how much each brings to the table.
No, for sure. It is a collaborative effort. It feels a bit like homecoming. Is that how you feel?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, because I've known all the winners starting from my first year. Steve Greenberg was a
nice.
winner, and Steve's a friend. And other great highlights have been like Logan Hussein, who was an 11-year-old back in 2019, and he won Youth Philanthropist.
Yeah.
We have that's always a special award for me. Someone, usually they're in university or maybe at the earliest would be high school. Here was an 11-year-old that had an issue with CHEO, and he was raising $200,000 for the NICU, for a portable NICU, and I helped him with that raise, and we're still friends to this day. A 59-year-old, and now I think he's about 16.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. But that really is philanthropy, right?
is.
It's creating community, and it's lessening those barriers. One of the highlights for us, of course, as fundraisers in this community, is seeing the fundraiser of the year, and so many incredible people. I would take the whole time to name all those people, but those speeches. I always admire the donors that look on to see that fundraiser of the year, because although there's one person represented, we know how hard all these fundraisers are working in the city.
Well, and I think it's an important distinction that, we call them the award recipients for that year, but they are really representing a cadre of people who went before and will come after. So we are looking for shining examples of those who continue to build these type of partnerships and those who work in community. And these are always people that I look up to when we talk about the fundraising professional of the year. These are people who have had a career in our profession, who often have mentored many of us as we've started, and have just really worked hard to be part of the story of how Ottawa has been built. So having them in the room, whether that's their first year, their last year, depending on their career path, it's just absolutely amazing to have that connection.
And I think about some of the speeches over the years, incredibly inspiring. One that always stands out to me was Ian Sherman talking about his journey. And you think about someone like that, that's just involved in so many assets here in the city, but then gets up and speaks beautifully about his journey to philanthropy. And Dan Greenberg and I have had lots of fun over the years as well, and talking about his journey as well. But each and every one of those speeches, and lots of diversity as well. I know with youth as well, the people we're seeing represented, it really is a cross section.
Yeah, no, absolutely. One of mine was last year, Cindy Hooper.
Oh.
I mean, we were, tears were being poured in the audience. There was a woman that was fighting cancer. We were raising money for the Ottawa Hospital, which we know is the biggest raise in Ottawa history at $500 million. And that really moved me. Yeah, it feels great. It's an energetic night. You leave actually, a lot of these galas, and I go to, geez, I think my record was 51 in 1 year, black ties, all across Canada. So I do this really for a living because we're in the philanthropy raising business. But I always feel energized, more energized leaving the Phils than I did arriving. And usually it's the opposite. Yeah. By the time you're done at 10, 11 o'clock, you put in a full day at work. But it really is sensational.
And if people are looking to be energized and attend with us this year, Derek, November 6th is the big day. How can people get tickets?
So they can just go to afpottawa.ca. The ticket sales will open and they'll be able to purchase tickets to come along. They can either just send an email now to be put on a waiting list, but we'll open that ticket sales and people can just come that evening and enjoy us. We have changed the event up to allow for 400 people this year, which is an increase from anything we've done in the past. But for the 30th, we wanted to really make space for others to come. So I think, to Peter's point too, I think we also have to think about the partnerships that have come out of the event that evening. So I always say to people, why come if they don't know the award recipients? Because it's still a community building room. So when you go, even if you aren't directly connected to that year's award recipients, because some of these people are such quiet philanthropists and quiet people in the community, the partnerships that have developed from relationships that have built in this room, from the conversations with our sponsors, our corporate partners, our individuals, groups, have been amazing. Even among ourselves, as we as fundraisers and other people within the community learn what each other's doing and help connect our donors. So just even from that perspective, come along to see this celebration and be part of a room full of people who are doing the same work as you are to build this community.
Beautifully said. Now I know why you're the chair of the committee. I get it, 100%. If we want to learn more about Foundation WCPD, where are we going?
Well, I mean, the website's always good, WCPD or Google Peter Nicholson. Yeah, that would be great. I mean, it's a good fit for anyone that pays a lot of tax. We can have you pay about 20% of your tax bill to charities of your choice at a 1 cent cost.
Well, no, that sounds good.
Yeah,
exactly.
That sounds good. That includes our fees, too, and the legal and accounting.
Fantastic.
So, no, it's been a great business. We've been doing it since 2006. I've been in the financial business since 1987. And as you stated, I bring my kids to the Phils Awards. They love going to some of these galas. The East Indian galas are one of their favorites, especially my girls with all the dancing and the saris. But it's just a phenomenal experience, and Ottawa is such a better community because of the givers.
Well, and I think this event is better because of you. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sam.
AFP Phils, of course, presented by Foundation WCPD. I will see you there, gentlemen. You can't keep me away.
No, we
and
don't
sponsored by Rogers as well. So
yes, exactly.
Thank you, Sam, and thank you, Rogers, for making this space available for us to promote the event, but especially for you who comes every year when she can, when she's not receiving the Order of Ottawa.
Oh, you're sweet. You're
and
sweet.
Joins us because in our community, you are an important person.
Oh, you're very kind.
You are,
Thanks,
Sam.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Derek DeLuce joining us today, and Peter Nicholson. You're going to learn more about AFP Ottawa. Stay right with us, everyone, on An Hour to Give. And we're back on An Hour to Give. I'm Sam Laprade. This week we're featuring the Association of Fundraising Professionals and that fantastic event which has been going for 30 years, affectionately known as the Phils, the Philanthropy Awards. I'd like to welcome to the show the one and only John Boza, who started the awards many, many years ago. We'll get to all those details. And Stephanie Young is joining us as well from Ashbury College. Hello, you two.
Hi, Sam.
Nice to have you here. Well, let's go all the way back, John Boza, 30 years ago.
30 years ago.
What made you start the Philanthropy Awards?
Wow. Back then, there were about maybe 15 fundraisers in Ottawa, professionals, and we had our own little group called the the Ottawa Fundraising Executives.
Yes.
And for a couple of years, then we decided to merge with the larger organization, international, called the AFP, Association of Fundraising Professionals. And they had held awards for years, the AFP, internationally, but not in Ottawa. So once we joined with, actually, before we joined with them, we had this one. And as you'll see, the first one was called the Ottawa Fundraising Executives Philanthropy Awards.
It's fantastic.
And
And you,
just-
you brought with you, which I love, I'm going to show everybody, this is the program from that night. And I just think it's wonderful to be able to show people that you've kept this. It's
Well,
meant something to you,
A
John.
couple of times it's got nearly thrown away. In fact, we just moved last week, and I almost threw it away then.
Yeah.
And then I remembered the show. Yes, it was wonderful. It was this small little group of people. It was held at City Hall in the Rotunda, and
Yeah.
it was really wonderful to honor philanthropy and people who cared about the community by giving that early. Yeah.
Is it great to hear the history, Stephanie?
really
I mean,
is.
it's
Oh,
wonderful to kind of, you know, you hear about events having a 30-year anniversary, but you kind of forget about how it all started. How did you get involved?
I work at Ashbury College. We're a grade 4 through 12 independent school here in Ottawa. And community service and giving back is really woven through the fabric of so much of what we do at the school. And so one of the special awards given that night is the Young Philanthropist Award. And so we felt it was just in perfect alignment with what we do to shine a light on a young person here in Ottawa who's going above and beyond and dedicating their time, effort, and energy to their community.
Can I drop a bit of a truth bomb?
Please.
I usually cry when the Youth Award is given,
Yeah.
and the reason is those are so like those people are so inspirational. They get up, and I think it's so daunting to be a young person, stand in front of 300-400 people in a room. It looks like they do it every single day,
Yeah,
but their stories are so incredible. Do you feel the same?
I do, and I think that, you know, our students, our young people are growing up in a time with so much rapid change, technology, AI. There's something deeply grounding about giving back to one's own community.
Beautifully
You know,
said.
empathy, there's leadership opportunities, project management. There's so many dimensions of learning in that effort, and so it's, of course, we want to celebrate those young people who are doing it so well.
Of course. It's come so far at the awards.
Oh,
We've seen it.
it really has,
Out of
yeah.
30 years, I probably have attended, I would say 15 years.
Yep.
And I'm so proud to say that.
Yeah.
How has it changed for you to watch it sort of grow?
It's just amazing. I mean, the whole point of it is to, promote and celebrate philanthropy in the community. And so we had, I think, 60 people at the first one. It was, very low budget, very simple, no coverage of any kind in the media before or after. And to see it grow now to an event with, as you say, 300 or 400 people, it's become a staple in the community for people to celebrate giving. It's just glorious to see. And I've been to nearly all of them, and it's just wonderful to see the change.
Yeah. November 6th is the big date, of course, this year. Really encouraging people to go, to be in that room. There's a vibe in that room, and I am very blessed I get to go to a lot of events. There's something special about this one.
Yes, I agree. There's something about being shoulder to shoulder with people who really love Ottawa, they really love their communities, and they're willing to show with their actions. It's electric.
It is electric. That's a great word, electric.
Good turn.
Did you ever think in a million years
No.
that in 2024 you would be sitting here talking about the Philanthropy Awards and someone would describe it as electric?
No,
Yeah.
really, to be candid, no. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think I thought past a few years of it being anything. So to see it last this long and grow this big, it's really heartwarming.
And who do you think needs to be in the room when you attend? Who's maybe missing? Who needs to be there and feel that electricity?
That's such a good question. I think there's space for everybody, but I think that, if you love Ottawa the way so many of us do, and you really want to raise a glass and celebrate those who go above and beyond, I think it's a place to be. Wouldn't you agree?
For sure.
Yeah.
It's always a very big cross section of the community. If anything, some of the smaller organizations are not always there, and the awards tend to be given to nominees from the large organizations in general. So that's what I'd like to see more of.
Yeah, and I love looking out, and I'm very, very blessed. I've hosted this for a number of years, this event, and when I get that perspective of being on stage and looking out, I do see cross-section of the community. I see the business community. I see our elected officials. I see fundraisers. Like I see all my friends there. And then we see media representatives. I really think it's wonderful to have that kind of opportunity. Last year, heartbroken to say I missed last year. So I need you to fill me in. What was last year like?
Last year was, first of all, a beautiful event. And I think that towards the end of the evening, when everyone, of course, was on their feet applauding all of the award recipients, I think it was just such a celebration of the best of the city. I was fortunate to be seated right behind the family of the Youth Philanthropy Award winner. And his story was so moving. And I thought, this young man, hopefully this creates an indelible memory, and he'll use it as a springboard. And he doesn't stop here. He just goes forward and onward. The exuberance coming from his family table was so touching.
Yeah. And one year that I will never forget is Jonathan Petrie.
Oh, yes.
The incredible butterfly child got up and spoke, and he spoke so beautiful. You could not hear a pin drop in that room. I mean, it was unbelievable. Everyone hung on to every word. He was mature beyond his years.
Yeah.
But what he had done for his organization, Deborah, and talking about, about what his life experiences were, for a young man to school in the best possible way that entire room on what humanity meant. That's a moment I'll never forget. Were you there for that one, John?
Oh, yes. But you know what? In addition to that, I do want to just touch briefly on another reason we did this is because back then, if you said I'm a fundraiser, they go, what?
Right.
And
So true.
there were no courses, there were no programs, no accreditation, no recognition of the profession, right? And so that's why, for me, it's the Outstanding Fundraising Professional Award for the individual who works at a hospital or a Boys and Girls Club, a church, a museum, any of those places, and to see them acknowledged and within, by their own peers, and then they tend to be respected a bit more even by their employer because they recognize it. So that's been a huge growth. Now you can get courses everywhere, Algonquin College programs, online, everything. But, I was the first person in Ottawa to receive the Certified Fundraising Executive designation around this time. And, now there's, I don't know, I should have looked up, there's probably 50 in Ottawa.
There's a lot, yes, absolutely.
There weren't even, as I say, there weren't even close to that many fundraisers then, let alone professional designation ones,
Yeah, we're going to meet Jennifer Van Noort, one of those
good.
recipients, in a little bit, and she certainly is inspiring. But I think about Rachel Wilson won one year, David Gourlay, and I'll never ever forget Brenda Rothwell's speech. So there's just to see that, and as a fundraiser, to see our colleagues up there, what does that do for you?
Oh, it's inspiring. I mean, there are days when the work isn't easy. It's deeply rewarding. But to know that you can aspire to become a leader in that way who's celebrated by their peers, it goes a long way, as it does in any category. Go ahead.
I have to mention that Boyd McBride was the first honoree.
Right.
And Boyd, many of you know Boyd.
Yes.
And the second year, it was a woman who was given the award posthumously. You probably don't know her, Fran Lowe. She was an extraordinary fundraising consultant. She was first consultant. And the third year to Barbara McGuinness, who you've known for years and years since then. She was pretty green fundraiser then. But
we miss Barb terribly.
Oh,
She impacted my career, and she was a dear friend.
Sure.
We miss her terribly. Just even hearing some of these names, it's just it's incredible. And then we get to recognize incredible people that have done fundraising in this community as leaders in this community. They're volunteering their time, and that list is long as well. I mean, it is inspiring to just be there and see everybody that's made such a contribution.
Oh, no doubt. And I think, sadly, the research shows us that rates of volunteering are declining. So when you see people who have very busy, full lives finding the time to do so much with such a generous spirit, of course, we must applaud them.
Wonderful.
Absolutely.
There's corporations and other categories, but the outstanding group is amazing. You get Lions Clubs, Kiwanis Clubs, church groups, all these who just go out of their way year in, year out to do this Rotary, every community social service group, if I don't know what you call them.
Yeah, no, it's
then
great.
You can imagine, and they've all been recognized through this, and it's just great to see.
Absolutely. So what's the next 30 years hold, do you think, for the Phils, John? Are we going to be here in 30 years chatting about the 60th?
Will it be just virtual only? Because, during COVID, there was a virtual one for a year or two. I hope it's never, that impersonal, but yeah.
Yeah, it's really incredible to see the community come together. I know where I'll be on November 6th. Do you bring friends with you and bring other colleagues with you as well, Stephanie?
Absolutely, yes. We bring our own volunteers. So last year we were
Nice.
joined by Julie Colson-Fine, the vice chair of our foundation, and she had the great honor of awarding Riley with his award. And I think it added a layer of depth to the work that she does with us at Ashbury, to really see, like, this is incredible. These people, very much like her, who give so much. So it's a beautiful event. It's definitely worth getting out and attending. And so, it's a mix of colleagues and our own volunteers.
Absolutely. Yeah. And just on a personal note, John, just thank you so much for everything
Oh.
you've done for the sector. And we wouldn't be here celebrating 30 years if it wasn't for John
It was a group
Boza.
effort, but you know, I took the idea from the international group and said, let's try it. And right away we had a team of about probably 8 or 10 people, and it was just half the fundraising in town.
Exactly.
And away we went. Yes.
And will you be joining us for the 30th?
Of course.
Of course.
Of course. Yeah.
November 6th is the big day. Thank you so much, John Boza, for everything you do. Stephanie, thank you so much for everything you do as well. Stephanie Young joining us from Ashbury. Thank you as well for hearing all about the AFP. Big event happening November 6th. It is the Phils, the Philanthropy Awards, and I know I'll be there happily hosting again. When we come back, the one and only, you know her, Jennifer Van Noort from the Ottawa Hospital Foundation will be in the hot seat. Stay with us on An Hour to Give. I don't know how we did it, but we got the busiest woman in the city to join us here on An Hour to Give, and her name is Jennifer Van Noort. Hello, Jennifer. How are you?
Hello, Sam. Doing great.
I love spending time with you, VP of Philanthropy for the Ottawa Hospital Foundation, and I'm sure you're aware of the Creating a Better Tomorrow campaign, Creating Tomorrow, and creating an incredible fundraising effort here in this city, $500 million, and you're kind of getting there. What number are you at?
I am so proud to say we're at 331 million. We just announced it. It's incredible.
Oh, I feel like we've gotten breaking news here. It's fantastic. Wonderful. So thank you so much for sharing that. You are a respected fundraiser. You have won countless awards. The award receiving the Outstanding Fundraising of the Year award from the Association of Fundraising Professionals at the Phils. Take me to that moment.
Oh my goodness, it does make me genuinely smile. I have such pride about that moment, not because it's an award, but because there is such an incredible environment and incredible energy and group of people in that room. I always say meeting donors and volunteers is what inspires everyone in our profession to do what we do. Nothing more humbling than meeting those individuals. But when you get a moment to celebrate those who have chosen the nonprofit sector as their profession, I say kudos. I say it's humbling, it's exciting, and I hope it encourages a next generation to choose this industry.
I hope so, because I don't remember anyone ever sitting me down going, you could make a living out of being a professional fundraiser. If somebody would have said that to me, I'd be like, that's a job, that I can do that. But my life has been so fulfilled, and I know yours as well, by doing that work, because I really see us as matchmakers. Right? You're creating this moment between a donor who's probably a grateful patient in your case, and a doc who wants to do incredible things, and you're this beautiful matchmaker.
Absolutely. It's kind of a lovely way to put it. And you're right, I'm seeing that changing of the channel, if you will, where people are starting to say, that's an inspiring, incredible profession. I'd like to be a part of that. You're absolutely right. We do have the privilege of making those connections and making those introductions. And then what I love most about the Phils is you sit in that room and listen to why leaders in our community at every age and stage have chosen to give back in such a beautiful way. And regardless of the area of fundraising that you're in, you're proud. You say, I've chosen the right profession. It's amazing.
100%. And I remember listening to Bishop Desmond Tutu at an AFP event in Baltimore. It was an international event. And for whatever reason, I don't know how it happened, I ended up being front row.
Amazing.
And I was sitting there, and he said, fundraising
is a noble profession.
Yeah.
And if
Makes
it
me
wasn't,
sit up straight.
Oh, I know, me too. And if it wasn't for like the bishop, I would have stood up and cheered. I was I didn't want to disrupt him.
Yeah.
But I was like, I am so proud right now.
Yeah.
And that moment, I got to tell you that I want to share with anyone who wants to get into this sector.
You want to bottle it, eh?
I
and
do.
just share it.
Yeah.
And I agree it's noble. I agree it's exciting. I love that it's matchmaking, as you said. I love that it's strategic, Sam.
Oh,
You know
yes.
what I love most is
Yes.
that we're also introducing so many people to the business, the strategy, which is not a bad thing.
Right.
To do great things.
Exactly.
Great leaders need to be a part of that, and it needs some creativity too.
And I'm really glad you brought up the strategy part, because I think in many ways it's refreshing to donors to know that we have a plan, that we're asking for $500 million for a reason, for the Ottawa Hospital, for instance, because we have a plan of how that's going to parcel out. The province is putting in so much. We're going to raise the rest of the money in this way.
Yeah.
This is what it's going to. Your case for support is amazing.
thank
Where
you.
are we sending people? Creatingtomorrow.ca?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
All the details are there.
Everything is there, and would encourage folks to come and see that, because you're right, there is a vision, there is a plan, and I would say very proud of what the Ottawa Hospital is doing, and exciting to see that vision taking shape, and excited to see many worthy charities in this community with a vision that allows donors to be a part of that. So
100%.
really exciting to see. But yes, thank you for sending folks to the
For
Ottawa
sure.
Hospital.
For sure. I've made my gift. I'm very proud.
Thank you for that, Sam.
So when I think about November the 6th, and I think about all of us coming together, I've used this term a lot. I think it's a homecoming. I feel like it's our homecoming every year. And I see people that I don't get to see a lot during the year because everyone's so busy. But I feel like that night we get to introduce to some incredible fundraisers and also some volunteers in this community. It's an inspiring night.
Yeah, it's incredible. I think about it with such fondness, and I love, you're right, that we get to see so many familiar faces and so many new faces. So I just want to, I'm excited if the AFP can invite even more people to come and see what this event is all about. But it really is invigorating for us as a city, as a country, to pause and celebrate the power of philanthropy. I never want to see that go away. It's pretty exciting.
Me too. And to think 30 years ago, I was saying to John, I think I've probably been to 15 out of 30. Are you kind of the same number?
Yeah, I would say. I'm a regular, I would say. I'm proud of that, for
I
sure.
always lock it into my calendar nice and early to make sure that I'm there. And talk to me a little bit about what it means for, the Ottawa Hospital over the years has nominated a number of people. You get that call that one of your nominees is receiving an award. Take me to that moment.
Yeah, it's like a bit of a parenting moment, because you really pour a lot of energy and pride into those nominations, and the people that we're selecting, people that we're nominating, and that all charities are nominating, you're doing it because you fundamentally want to see them celebrated for the incredible work that they're doing. And so it's hard when they don't win, but when they are selected, it is such a gift. And to be along for that to be along for that journey is really so inspiring. Last year was pretty humble to see Cindy Hooper nominated and win for the incredible work that she does in her journey for pancreatic cancer, but the way that she does it. Could hear a pin drop, a lot of tears, but the amount of pride to see Cindy celebrated, her family, to see the Ottawa Hospital celebrated in that way, no better gift, no better gift to see that legacy.
I don't know, I can't see you doing anything else. Like, I can see you as a fundraiser through and through. Like, you're just so inspiring to people. And in our sector, I think there's a few fundraisers that really stand out that we all sort of aim to be like, and I think you're one of them.
Well, Sam, you're going to make me cry, and I know you always say you're not Barbara Walters. That means a lot to me, because this is not easy work. I thank you for that. I do fundamentally love it, and on those days where my to-do list just seems to topple over, I consider this such a great honor and privilege, and I am so proud in this city of all the great leaders, you included, that are doing such great work to make this city better. It's really incredible.
And walk me through when you got the call that you were going to be, first of all, even nominated, because I know they like to let people know ahead of time, and then to get the call that you were going to receive. Do you remember the moment?
I remember it vividly. I did not know I was nominated, probably deliberately, so I was genuinely shocked. Genuinely shocked and very humbled and so grateful to my peers. My family was there and my colleagues at the Ottawa Hospital Foundation were there. Nothing was more meaningful. I'm embarrassed to say that I talked too long, which is embarrassing because every fundraiser knows, listen more, talk less, but I was just so grateful. Really profoundly touched by this and excited to just work alongside so many great people.
And, you know, AFP, I mean, wonderful to have the philanthropy awards, but there's so much more with AFP. We see each other at education events, we see each other at fundraising day, and I really find that I'm probably a better fundraiser because of AFP and because of the network I've built. Because there's been times where I'm like, I feel like I've got a barrier and I'm like, okay, who am I going to call? You know, to try and get me over this hump, and who has had this similar situation, and how should I manage this? I mean, ethics is a big part of our work.
You bet.
You know, we're working with boards, we're working with volunteers. AFP as a whole has really been a savior for me in many ways.
Oh, absolutely. And I would agree with that. It's a wonderful collaborative group. I know in partnership with the AFP, the Ottawa Hospital, we brought together a group of leaders from multiple charities in town and just wanted to share ideas. And you're right, it's the first call that I will make when I'm struggling with something, when I have a question and I'm at the other end of an email anytime. So I agree, it's a real comfort that way, and so lovely to see philanthropy thriving in this city in that way. It should be, because there's a lot of work to be done, which I know can be very daunting. But I feel bullish every day when I think about the special individuals in this community that want to give back in such a special way. It really keeps me very motivated. I know it does to you too.
And I thought it was really lovely. You know, we bumped into each other a few weeks ago, and I said to you, wow, you know, I've got this huge campaign, and how are you doing? And there's so many other things going on in this community. And you're like, Sam, it's great that there's so much going on. Like, it's not, and it's going to sound very bizarre, but there's the competitive spirit is more about the whole community rising.
Oh, I love that so much. I love that. I know we subscribe to that philosophy. I know everybody here does. How lovely, actually, at the Phils, when a winner is being honored and it's shared with the crowd and the city, all of the charities that they're involved with. And I think these are true community builders, true philanthropists, and how lovely that they also are epitomizing that collaborative spirit. You're right, we can do it together, and
we can do it together.
All boats rise.
And for a city of over 1 million people, this city is generous, Jen. So talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's amazing. I know we all get a little bit worried. Can we do it? Can we do the incredible work that needs to be done? I think we can. I think I see evidence of that every day. I am inspired every minute of every day because of the medical staff and patients that I get to meet. I am equally inspired because of the people that I meet in this city who continue to give back in such a selfless way. So yeah, I am bullish. Don't mistake that for not for thinking this is easy. No. I am bullish though, because I fundamentally believe Ottawa really is that special a city. I really do
too, and I look at other cities and I think we've got a lot going on here, and there's always work to be done. But I think we're doing it together.
It's
very inspiring.
I love that. You're a great cheerleader, Sam.
Congratulations again, and I look forward this year to find out who's going to be taking that honor again.
Me too.
November 6th. I know I'll be there. I know you'll be there.
Sold.
Look forward to it very much. Jennifer Van Noort, of course, joining us. She's a VP of Philanthropy at the Ottawa Hospital Foundation, and she is doing incredible work along with the entire team at the foundation. When we come back, my dear friend Carolyn Phillips will be here from the OBJ. She's got a really interesting perspective on the Phils. You'll want to stay with us on An Hour to Give. Well, I'm so excited because Carolyn Phillips is on this side of the camera, and she is with the Ottawa Business Journal. Carolyn, how are you?
Oh, good. Thank you for having me, Sam. I'm so excited to be here.
So happy you're here.
Thank you. This is great.
So we see each other 152 times a year because you cover every event in this city for the Ottawa Business Journal. You do such a beautiful job, and I know the Phils have meant a lot to you.
Oh yeah, it's so great. So it's kind of interesting because I actually don't come from a philanthropic family. I grew up with a dad who was like, save every penny, only spend money on like education and travel that like, you know, expands your mind. So it was really interesting when I first started getting involved in the Phils in like the very early years, we'll say about almost 20 years ago, I'd just drop in and out, get some photos, announce the winners, and that was basically my contact with the event. So very, very superficial. At some point, somebody asked me to join the judging panel, like the selection committee. And that was really when I started to get more involved and learn a lot more about what it does and the people that it honors. And I got to sit on that selection committee with some like incredible community leaders, some of whom are no longer with us. And so terrific experience. Loved it, loved it, loved it. And then I was just going to say, I think my most insightful moment, if I can share that with
Please.
you. Okay, so I'm going back to 2012. That's quite a while ago. By this time, I was starting to stay for dinner, and
Yes.
my kids were slightly older, so I had the time. And I always remember. So Stephen Greenberg, he owns Osgood Properties. He was honored for outstanding philanthropist, and I think he was being specifically honored by the Ottawa Hospital for the work he had done and the gift he had given to bring some surgical technology to Ottawa, like very important surgical technology. And he started talking, this is going to be like philanthropy 101 to someone like you, but he started talking about this Jewish philosopher from like the 12th century who had come up with like a pyramid for giving. Okay, so kind of close to the top of that, I guess is the ideal kind of philanthropy is when you give anonymously and when the recipients of your gift don't know who you are. So his type of philanthropy, I guess, is a few notches down, and that's when you're known, like your identity is known. So he was trying to like justify why is it okay, you know, for philanthropists to share, to be public about their donations. And I guess his argument or his thought was it inspires others to give, right? Because you see other people giving, and then that encourages more, you know, further philanthropy. And it was just really lovely hearing him speak about it. And I guess at the end of his speech, he made it was kind of a cute little joke. Like, I think the philosopher would understand, like, you know, why he chose to be public about his donation. So I really love that. And then sort of skipping ahead till 2018, Mike McGann, who's another prominent business leader, he's very, very nice, humble guy. He was accepting his award also for Outstanding Philanthropist. And he talked about, really about how the award, like, I guess it encourages you to want to keep giving, and how he wanted to do even more. I think that was his statement. And it's been amazing to watch him, because him and his team at Interrent REIT and CLV Group, they organize a charity golf tournament every year. Yeah,
It's incredible.
Yeah, it is. And so they, and it's in honor of a dear friend of his who used to organize the event and has passed away. And last year they raised over $1.6 million. And then I know, and then and every year it gets more and more, and it just goes back to when I think about him getting that award and him saying, "I want to do even more." Well, he is, right? So that award really inspired him to motivated him to keep doing what he's doing in the community. So those are two moments that really stick with me from over the years. And then there's been also some really great speakers, Jonathan Petrie. Even last year with Cindy Hooper, she has she's terminally ill with pancreatic cancer. So she talked about her journey, and just like really, really inspiring stuff.
Yeah, it is, and I think you've hit the nail on the head. I mean, there's always laughs there. There's always some tears. It's a very inspiring night. Your perspective covering the event, I always love the next day when I get to go to the OBJ and I'm looking up the all those beautiful pictures. You've got a talent for photography, but as a journalist, capturing that moment, I think you do a really nice job of those that were there. You create this beautiful memory for us.
Thanks.
But those that weren't there, it feels like you were there because you do such a nice job.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I do feel like with every acceptance speech, there's always some something you take away from what that person said, right? You might not everything they say may not resonate with you, but there'll be something, some insight, some inspiration there, something that will make you laugh or cry, or so. And so that's what I love about the speeches, is I learn something from each one of them.
Yeah, and I've hosted the event for many years, as you know. One of my favorite photos that you've ever taken of me is Dan Greenberg and I, very generous Dan Greenberg, and we got the giggles on stage, and you captured that moment, and I always love that picture because once again, it's one of those things where I think people think, oh, philanthropy can be a bit boring, or you know, it's just, you know, it's kind of, we all sit and eat our chicken, and you know, it's. But I think you capture the moment that it's actually a really fun night, and I find everybody walks away and they're 5 feet off the ground because it's such an inspiring night.
That's interesting. One of the things that occurred to me last year was I was talking to a prominent businesswoman who was invited as a guest, Catherine Tremblay, and she said to me, she enjoyed the night, she had a really good time, but she's like, I'd never heard of this event before.
Right.
She had no idea that. So then that made me think it would be really great if I guess the companies that are buying tables and the organizations, the nonprofits that are attending, if maybe they could be drawing in some more people that are unaware of it, just to get the awareness out beyond just the AFP Ottawa community.
100%. And I think this year, celebrating 30 years, can you believe 30 years? It's unbelievable to me. 30 years, November 6th. It's going to be a great opportunity because we've got even more opportunity. It's going to be even bigger this year. So inviting lots of people in.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Being behind the camera, walking into a room like that, and knowing you're going to be capturing the night, how do you tackle that? How do you know kind of how to, because you sort of float around the room, like you're there, but I don't know how to explain it. You do such a beautiful job of you don't take over the event, but you capture it in such a beautiful way.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's I guess it's a process. You're there and you are observing everything and documenting everything, and then after, I guess all the real work starts when I get home.
Right. True. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah. It's exhausting.
Yeah, I bet. Because you always seem to. You must work very late because you always seem to, the next day everything's there and it's this beautiful article.
I'll tell you this. So because I'm taking photos at the same time that everyone's giving their acceptance speeches, I actually have to record everything and then re-listen to it after, which I don't mind doing because it's nice to re-listen to it because it's like you're reliving it, and so it's fine, but it's very time consuming. Yeah.
What's different between this kind of journalism and maybe a different kind of journalism in terms of what you're capturing? Because there's a lot of, negative stuff that happens in the media because that's kind of, that's media sometimes, but this is a very positive.
I guess I would classify it as community journalism. Yes. And so sometimes that means I ignore things that aren't perfect, and I'm not there to criticize people or point out, it's really just trying to uplift the community and support the community.
I don't know if you understand how much you're respected. Truly.
That's nice of you to say. That's really sweet. Thank you so much.
And I always think it's funny because people will say, oh, we had a great event and Carolyn Phillips was there.
Oh, that's nice.
Right?
Thanks, Sam.
So I think that's really nice to see that kind of connection.
That's really kind of you. Thank you.
But I think the OBJ is such an interesting place because it's so focused on business. What I think they've done really well, Mike Kern and the team there, Ann Howland, has done a really nice job of balancing the philanthropy piece to show that intersection between business and philanthropy.
Absolutely,
how important do you think that is from your perspective?
Well, I think the two are really connected. Well, I do think the community, I do think the media, the journalism needs to support the community, and I think it's a reciprocal relationship because if you support the charities and the business people that are behind the charities, that's going to benefit your organization as well because they'll support you, and I just think it's a beautiful relationship, and I think it's not to be overlooked.
No, for sure. And you were mentioning a few favorites of yours over the years, and I've got a list as long as my arm of moments, and it's hard because I'm hosting and I can't cry on stage, but some of those moments have brought me to tears because they are so emotional that, you know, you just think this is somebody that is getting up there and sharing, you know, why they've done this. And I think in many ways, especially when it's the business leaders, we see the business leaders running multi-million-dollar companies, but then they get up there and talk about how they've raised money for something, and you can just see them, the humanity come out.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. And it's interesting because some people have had very little public speaking experience. And so that's interesting too, right? Because sometimes, you know, there's these slick speakers and they get up and they give their sort of corporate speechy. But other times it's like, that was really from the heart, and those are my favorite speeches for sure.
Absolutely. So you're getting ready for the 30th. How will you cover the 30th, maybe different than another year? Is it something a little bit special because it is the 30th?
Oh, I don't know. I think I'm just going to be that passive observer, and then I'll go back. I don't know. I don't really know what to expect entirely. So, and that's the other part too. Is just like you can only do so much. So you just try and focus in on what you think's the most important or of most interest to the readers.
Yeah, and I think you do once again, you do a really great job seeing all of the sponsors there that night. Foundation WCPD has always been great. Peter Nicholson and his team supporting the event. It's great to see that party that they have beforehand as well. All of those recipients get to meet each other. I'm always surprised, I don't know about you, surprised people that don't know each other in the city and they're meeting for the first time. It's an event, I think they've done a really nice job of making it just not one night, but it kind of goes over about a 6-week period where we get to celebrate.
Right, because Peter Nicholson will be hosting an event leading up to the event. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's a wonderful night. Well, thank you so much again for everything you do, and we're looking forward to the 30th anniversary of the Phils. I cannot believe it.
And a big thank you to everybody at the Association of Fundraising Professionals for everything you do for this network of great fundraisers in this city. The Phils, of course, is a favorite event of mine, along with Fundraising Day. And I hope to see everybody on November the 6th. This event, of course, means so much to so many. Celebrating 30 years, I'm so proud to be your host that night. I look forward to seeing everybody there, and to all of the recipients, enjoy every single moment. Remember, these are the good old days. Thanks so much. I'm Sam Laprade. Thanks for watching An Hour to Give.